Hello everyone, it's Laura from Idaho Sewing and Vacuum. Again, we're at my home sewing space for our week 2 video. So just real quick, people commented about how great my sewing room looks. I'm going to be real with you. I show you the better version of it. I will give you a quick look of what my sewing room actually looks like right now. The part you don't see, mostly because I know how to pick which angles are going to give you a better look at the fun things we have planned. So we're on week 2 of our block of the week. So last week we made 4 patches that had a little bit of a twist to them. So for those of you just joining us, there's this one here. It matches my shirt. Or if you're doing the warm colorway, it looks like this. Now, if you haven't joined and still want to, we can still get you kits, things like that. Don't worry, you won't miss out. I haven't yet checked yet if the blog post made it up there. I just send my stuff to Rachel and she posts it, so I think she already did. So the pattern's on there. Be sure to go to our blog and download it. If you are doing the embroidery one where you can piece in the hoop and you didn't pay for it all at once, I think there might be a link to pay for it, and then Stephanie will email you the designs. Probably maybe tomorrow or this weekend I will do a video showing you how you can do the embroidery in the hoop using the designs. Just be aware you're making small sections and then you'll eventually put them together later on in the hoop. So yes. So week 2, what are we going to make? I told you 4 patches. So here is our warm colorway. I really like using the batiks because it makes it easy for me to be like wrong side, right side. How do you know? See, you can see part of the mess behind me anyway. Cool colorway is this one here. Isn't that fun? I love this print because it pulls in that blue. I'm going to show you in the warm colorway this time because I showed cool colorway last week. So let's get started. I'll talk about what are in your kits and then we'll go from there. And yeah. So real quick, this is my honest sewing space right now. It is what it is. So if you are getting your kits, your warm colorway, you're going to have some 2.5-inch squares, 1.5-inch squares, and some background fabric. Cool colorway, 2.5-inch squares, 1.5-inch squares of background and colors, and then 2.5 by 4.5 background pieces. But since we're doing the warm colorways, we're going to put these aside for right now. So what we're going to take first is we're going to set these aside for later. And I'm going to want my background 1.5-inch squares and my colored 1.5-inch squares. We're going to set those aside for later. And we're going to be making sets of 2. So with each color combination, it's going to be color 1 or color 2. You decide whichever one's yours. And we're going to take a background square and we're going to put our batik fabric on top. And we're going to sew a bunch of those. And we're going to sew with 1/4 of an inch on this side here. And you're going to do it until you have a total of 8 because we're going to be making multiple 4-patch blocks. Thank you everyone for your support. Appreciate it. So we're going to make a bunch of them and then we're going to press. And now I am a nice person and I even tell you guys how to press. So here's all my pieces sewn. And you do want to make sure you have a good 1/4 of an inch. If you have too big of a 1/4 of an inch, your blocks won't turn out to be the right size. Too small, you'll have to do some trimming at the end, but don't worry. So I have 4 with one colorway, 4 with another, and now we are going to make 4 patches. The thing we want to remember is, if I show you the finished block, See how they're alternating? Like this one up here has the color in the left corner. This one has the background in the left corner. So when we go to make our 4 patches, we want to pay attention to how that goes. So I want my 1 4 patch to look like that. And I'm going to repeat it so I have a total of 2 of that colorway. And then with this one, I want it to be the exact opposite. So I want my color to be in the upper left-hand corner. So it's one where, yes, you could have them all face the same and turn and twist them, and that's totally fine. The reason why we did alternating is because it creates kind of a secondary pattern. And if you were making this block alone, you can do a bunch of things. So the real reason is you're pressing towards the color, and that's so that way when you put your 2 pieces together, your seams nest. And what I mean by nest is they lay right on top. It's one solid seam. If I didn't have them nest, there would be this gap between where my seam is. I know it's hard to see because I used white thread, and my other seam. And then when I opened it, my points wouldn't line up. You would just see a gap of color, and we don't want the gap. So you want to nest your seams. Pin is your friend, glue, whatever you'd like to do. But you're going to make 2 of each colorway, and those then look like this. So once you have these done, you're going to set them aside because we're going to come back and use them later. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our colored 2.5 inch squares, and we're going to make a 4 patch with them. This is going to be our nice large center 4 patch, okay? Because remember, these little pieces, one's going to go here, the other one's going to go up here, okay? So we're going to do the same thing. I just like to fold my piece over, and I am a chain piecer, so I just go from sewing one to the next. You're going to sew with a 1/4 inch seam down the side, and then we're going to press. Now I pressed towards the more orangey color. You can press towards the more peachy color if you want to. The choice is yours, just make sure it's the same for both. So I'm going to take this bottom one and twist it around for my larger 4 patch. And the reason why I press towards this one and press towards that one is so that my seams will nest again. Now, a little bit about pressing. When I press, and I am someone who uses steam, I know there's other people who don't, and that's totally fine either way. Whatever I do, I'm going to set my seam first. I place my iron right on top. I open up my fabric, if my fingers would work, and then I just gently roll my iron across so it becomes nice and flat. You don't want to have like a ridge because that's going to change your seam, and then when you go to quilt or anything like that, it just gets distorted. So here's my 4 patch. Fold it on down so the right sides are facing each other. Nest those seams again, and then 1/4 inch seam allowance, and it looks like that. So now that I have my center block, I'm going to lay it out with my other pieces. And this is where you can see, am I going the right direction? Am I getting that diagonal design? Oh, like this piece, I actually need to press just a little bit more to pick up that second look. And then you're wondering what goes here. That is where the rest of my background pieces are going to come in. They're just going to get laid in between. Now, if you want, you can start sewing your rows together. They're going to go like this. Now, to be honest, if I'm chain piecing, I probably will pin them so then I can just do one side and then the other. So this side I'd also flip down and pin. If you don't chain piece that way, that's totally fine. Do whatever works for you. So in the end, I'll have seams here, here, there, all the way as well. And then This time though, instead of pressing towards the color, we're going to press towards our background fabric. So here's all my rows. So towards background, towards background, towards background, or background rectangles. And this is again, so our seams nest and we have a nice finish point. Again, pin, put a little dab of glue, whatever you like. I want to make sure that my ends kind of line up and that this intersection doesn't matches up correctly. So then you sew and voila, you have a finished block. But you notice for nesting, I have my points look really nice, and it's one where that's what people notice and don't really notice so much after all from there. So here's the warm colorway. One more time. Here's the cool colorway. But if you notice, if I was to make a bunch of these blocks, like you could get a totally different design and look. And that's kind of why I have you do this diagonal line there. So yay, that's week 2. Super fun, like I said, we're slowly building. Next week, we're going to do house square triangles with squares. But don't worry, I'm going to start you off slow. It'll be super fun. If you're getting the kit, it's pre-cut, so your pieces should come out perfectly. Couple other things I wanted to let you know. With it being a new project, just a quick PSA for some people. If you haven't changed your needle in a while, maybe put a new one in. Also, it might be time to clean your iron. So I don't clean my iron probably as often as I should, considering how much I use it. So that might be something you want to take a look at and see, is it sticky? Is it gooey? Have I been working on an applique project? Have I been using so much starch it's sort of caked on there? Dritz makes this iron off cleaner that both of our locations carry. And if you go to our YouTube, Idaho Sewing and Vacuum on YouTube, Saren did a fantastic video on how to clean off your iron, which is great. So be sure to check that out. And then just a quick reminder. So tomorrow is the first day of July, which is yay, great. We will be there at the store from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. But then Friday, or tomorrow's Friday, so then Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, both stores are going to be closed so we can enjoy the holiday weekend like everybody else. However, if you need stuff, our online store is open all the time. It's on when I'm sleeping, so that's available too. I think we have some specials coming up on some patriotic fabric classes. Kids camp coming up in, I think, a couple of weeks. It's early July, I think. It's 3 days. They're going to make a couple of projects with Shelly. It'll be super fun. So if you have kids in your life, grandkids, your own kids, you want a morning activity for them for 3 days, sign them up for our kids camp. Space is limited. The fee for the class includes their supplies too. So everyone have a wonderful 4th of July weekend. I will catch you next week for block 3. And yeah, have a good evening. Bye.